Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through the trade targets for round 6. And yes, it is another week where we have huge amounts of rookie guys getting picked up, as they rightfully should, as you need that cash generation, which I've kind of stuffed up. I won't lie, I kind of stuffed it up, and I'm probably gonna get hammered because of that, because of the stuff up. But anyway, yeah, I'm like 400, 500k behind because I went to try and move my rookies on for mid prices, which is just the wrong decision now thinking about it. But in the heat of the moment, I made a really bad call, and now I'm paying back for that. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, we talked about Will Graham in the cash cows, so that we'll skip over him. Next up, Sam Walsh, and this is a one that I knew was going to happen after that 140 score, as a lot of people are reactive, and I understand why you're doing it. I'm just more on the conservative side of, especially with my rank at the moment and trying to build up cash, is if Sam Walsh drops anything more than 100, yes, it's a good play. But if he drops like an 80 or something, or gets injured, then this is a fail. And I'm more worried about him just re-injuring himself. So yes, that's why I would stay clear. And I don't think he will get the 13 tackles again. I don't think that will happen. So I don't think, I think you could maybe even lock off somewhere close to 8 or 9 tackles off that, and then that gets him down to like a 110, so it's not as damaging. And then I can jump on the week after anyway, and that'll be when he's sort of that 9-10k or so range. So it's an interesting play. I'm just more worried about him re-injuring himself, and I'm more worried, and I'm also in the camp of let's get a double downgrade to get rid of these bad rookie scores that we've had rookie cash generators, and get really good cash generators in there, and really try and make up the gap now that I've got the points on the board compared to a lot of people. Let's try and make up the cash that a lot of people will sacrifice when they go sort of that Sam Walsh route. Then you have Blake Drew, we talked about in the rookie video. Sam Closer, we talked about in the rookie video. Hugo Garcia, we talked about in the cash cows video. Then you go to Sam Flanders. I think this is also another one that you can really look at. I don't think he gets away from us too much, given that he's got an 85 break even still. It's not really going to get away from us. The most I see him rising to is around about that 900k, which is still gettable. If he drops something like a 90 or something like that, then I can still... there is a big play next week where potentially if Massimo and also Flanders get big scores, I can potentially... or something like that, or potentially trade out of a Bonner, etc. I can get to a Flanders and also a Nick Dacos or something or other like that. That would be the plan if all goes well. So yes, I'm planning on getting potentially Sam Flanders and Sam Walsh / 2 out of Sam Walsh, Sam Flanders, or Nick Dacos next week, given the plans that I have. But that'll be talked about more in depth in the team reveal for round 6. But yeah, I don't fault the Sam Flanders play, given that the Swans tend to apparently give up really big numbers to ball carrying defenders. So against the Swans, then he has the Weagles next week. We'll call them that for this week, as they did win against the Richmond, and they won in the Waffle for the first time in 600 days. Apparently, it is that long. So they are the Weagles this week. But yes, against Sydney, I'm just worried what potentially happens with Fox. Does Fox go to the likes of a Sam Collins or a who else do they have down there? Do they Ballard? Who else? They have a really good McAndrew potentially he goes to, or does he go and just run alongside the likes of a Sam Flanders and potentially restrict Flanders to like 100 or a 90 score or something like that, and not really get that 125 that really Sam Flanders could potentially do. So I'm just worried about that a little bit, but we'll wait and see on that one. I still think that Sam Flanders is a great option. I'm just worried, is he potentially a good option, but not the kicker option? That'll be the big play. Biggie, huge. We talked about him in the cash cows, and I just don't think this is a fantasy play, to be honest with with you. The key position just throws it, I think, and he's just in line to get a 40. That is honestly what it is. And he's huge in line to also get dropped. Potentially job security is not there. So obviously, the only thing huge about him is honestly his height, to be honest. And yes, he's going to make cash this week if he does play 100k. But do you really want a guy 350k? You sort of need these guys to get upwards towards that sort of 400k to make a massive difference. Because 400k, then you add on like say a Riley Bonner or something like that, 400k, then you can get up to the likes of a you can get up to likes of a 900k guy, potentially a little bit of cash in hand, and you can get up to 940k, 950k, and that's where you make the big breakers. Because you want to go, and someone said this, someone went, why aren't you going merit? Why is there a call not to go merit? And the thing about merit, and I think you'll see it down here, is not many people are going for him because he has a 130 break even and he's about to lose cash. In my opinion, he needs 130s. He needs a 140 or a 150 score not to almost get below that sort of 1.02, 1.01. And yes, he does have this huge run in round 8 coming up, which is potentially when I'll pick him up because he has 1... GWS could be difficult, but 2, 3, Suns should be a good team to play against, and then Carlton, and then out of the bye he has the Weagles. So I think he's a really, really good option during that one, but we're just hoping he gets a little bit of cash loss so that he's only 990k when that run comes along, because that'll be huge in that run when he goes, because that's around the time when he starts to really pick it up a gear. So I think that's when I would be picking him up. I'm just waiting for that cash gen to fall, as if we actually go to the outs, I think you'll see exactly what I mean by it. Potentially, where are they? Tom Green is traded out by 620 people. And this is why, because they are trying to flip off a premium, which is just not a good option. He's still doing all right. He's just had a bad couple of weeks, and he'll be back to his best. But this is why you don't go for guys at the top end, because they lose cash. 44k loss this week after being, I think, 1.06, 1.05 mil. So it just shows you, and he's going to lose a lot of cash this week as well. So we may be able to pick him up at 920, 930k, just looking at the fixture loss. Look at this. He's projected to lose 64, 64 plus 38, 94, 102k. So he's projected to get into the 800ks. That'd be huge. Obviously, that's with low break evens. But look at that break even just fly, because he loses the big 160. Look at these three that are starting to trail out of his system. So that's why he's losing cash. I wouldn't be trading him out because I think he's a good enough scorer to go 110, 110, 110, get down to like 920k and pretty much resurrect that break even. So we talked about those guys. Biggie, we got down to Isaac Heaney. This is an interesting one to think about. 95 break even. Don't think he's going to get away from you. Is he going to slightly lose his role given that the Swans... Well, he's not going to lose his role this week, I can tell you that, because Swans don't have any changes. No one's coming back from injury other than Sheldrick, but I don't think Sheldrick currently makes the side. Maybe they put him in the side to get that extra midfielder, and then they can push but then again, Rowbottom, you can't really push him out. Chad Warner, do you really want to have a Rowbottom Adams Sheldrick? That's too samey. That we're talking about exactly like I was talking about with Adelaide. We want that you want that run and carry, as a lot of teams are figuring it out finally. So I don't think they push a Sheldrick in off of an injury straight away. I think they play in VFL and see if he can pick up form. So I don't think Isaac Heaney's role is in doubt at all. Maybe potentially with Adams picking up a little bit more minutes now that he's had one game against the Eagles and a bye to get even healthier. So potentially that, but Isaac Heaney is still going to be a top 6 forward. Now, if we look at the fixture stats, you can just see they project him. I think those are relatively fair projections, maybe 5-10 points unders. But, so yeah, I don't think he gets much lower than 900k at any point this year. Steele, understand this as well. But he's a 98 break even. Is he... This is the thing about trading these guys in, and this is the reason why about that merit talk, is that is Steele currently at the top of his price change, Or is he going to go any higher? And that is the big question. Looking at his run here, I really like this run here. Like this run here is absolutely huge. Just looking at it. So I think he does go at 115 for the year. So I still think that's a good trade in. Elliot Yeo, understand this. He's been absolutely huge in 64 break even. He's going currently, I know it's only a 41st best in the comp, but at 767K, he's going to be huge. And yeah, his run at the moment to come up it's not the greatest run, but he does still have North in 22 as well. And given he's the West Coast Eagles and they don't get to play themselves, it's a pretty good, it's an all right run, I would say that. Rowan Marshall, understand this. I think a lot of people are probably going off of English, which is probably not the best idea, as I think English will turn it around soon. But I think Marshall is the second ruck to the likes of Gawn. He's been absolutely huge, and so glad that I brought him in. And yeah, plays tomorrow night against the Western Bulldogs, and then has Port, which we saw. Port has been an up and down bag, but for the big dominant ruckman, I think Port is a good matchup. Then has North Melbourne. North Melbourne, I'm pretty sure for him, should be a good matchup. And then has Hawks against Meek. That'll be an interesting matchup, but I think that'll be a good matchup as well. Freo against Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson. That's a tough matchup. Melbourne, that'll be an interesting one. Weagles, that maybe when Flynn comes back. Then the Suns and the Lions before the bye in 15. Dane Zorko, I want to wait another week with him. It's as simply as the fact that there is a potential for him to go back into sort of that mid-forward role again that he had all of last year with Zach Bailey going down injured, although that probably just gives Kai Lohman better job security, and also the fact that Charlie Cameron got off at the tribunal. I will never know how, given what they've stated. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering if Zorko moves forward. I've heard some Brisbane Lions fans say that he probably won't, that he should stay back, which is a good thing. But I think just waiting it another week as well, given his body as well, could potentially just not work, even though he's been running pretty well. But I would just give it another week. Errol, and this is sort of, and I looked at this and I went, this is eerily similar to what we were talking about 6 weeks ago at the start of the season with the early season bye. Now look at this, because he played 5 games before the bye. You only got 4 games to count. Now he's playing 6 games and then the bye. And already we have a lot of guys on the bye. And obviously at 127, he could kick back into form and absolutely kill me with this projection. But if he goes 127 and you have a covering sort of, say it's upgraded to a 70 score, so a 127 times 6 plus 70, divide that by 7, you need someone to go 118. So that's if he's going, so he loses roughly, give or take, 9 points, given that he has the early bye. And a lot of people will be trading him in 13, 14, and 15. 104 break even, much attainable. But if he goes, say, a 100, say he goes a 110 times by 6 plus a 70, divide that by 7, that's a 104. And a 104 is a lot more attainable across those rounds, and then you trade into an Errol Gulden. So I'm one to tend to try and stick away from these buy guys or trading in guys, especially now with my lineup having already 4 or 5 guys on the buy in round 12. I'm sticking clear of Green, Dunkley, Zorko, etc., Gulden, and sticking clear of them until the round 13, when we get to just swap out. Round 13, we get to swap a lot of our round 15 and 14 guys and swap them all go forward and to round 12, which it'll be interesting to see how people manage that, as some people will obviously do an upgrade. I might do 2 and an upgrade potentially, or something like that, or 1 and an upgrade, something or other. But that's sort of what I'm thinking at the moment, is that we wait for these round 12 guys to get off their bye, and then we go. Brad Hill, Shizel, understand that, huge score, but I think he's just, it's a tough one. I think this isn't the week to trade him in just because Hawks could potentially tag, and you don't want to trade in a guy that's potentially going to get 80. But then again, he's gone 120 each and every week, so he could potentially go 130. And this is the tough decision: is do you go for a Harry Sheezel or do you go for someone like a Jack Steele? A Jack Steele, you save 60k. An Elliot Yo, you save 300k. A Rowan Marshall, you're around about the same price. Where is it up here? Anyone else up here? Sam Flanders or Sam Walsh? Like, these guys, I think, are all better options than the likes of a Harry Sheezel, who also has the round 12 bye. And that round 12 bye, like we were saying, has Isaac Heaney you need, has Harry Sheezel, which you probably at this point need. It has Tom Powell, which a lot of people have. It has Tom Green. It has who else in that? If we go to percentage starts, you'll see who Harry Sheezel, Flanders isn't on that bye. Hayden Young's on 13, I know. Nick Dacos, is he on that bye as well? No, he's on 15, which is good. Let me click off, thank you. Tom Green's on that bye. Max Gorn isn't on that bye. I know he's on 14, sorry, not 15. Is Nick Martin on that bye? That would ruin that. Nope, he's on 14. These two are on 13. Brody Grundy. Lockie Whitfield as well on that bye as well for those people that have him, 33%. Zach Fisher on that bye. Tristan Sherry on that bye as well. Don't tell me if Hawthorn's on that bye. That would just... Nope, they're on 15. I need to probably get in touch with who's on that bye. But yeah, there's just a lot of guys on that bye in 12. That is it. Don't tell me it's good. That are going to be really substantial to actual play. So you're just going to be wary that you don't have more than sort of that 4 or 5 on that same bye, as that can really kill you. And I've already seen people realize that they've stuffed up their structure. So you are probably going to gain, I would say it depends on your position. Obviously, I'm not going to gain 1,000 spots at 1,900 rank. But I think if you're like 10 or 11k, if you get your buy structure right, you could gain a good 1,000 spots just because other people stuff it up. And you will gain 60 to 90 points across one round or something like that. And if you trade, and this is where you sort of can sideways some premiums or the sort of underperforming premiums during this buy round is because of that. So you can gain a lot of points by starting to plan for your buys, and this is sort of the point where you start to plan how many do you have on that buy, etc., etc. Bradley Hill, I think this is an alright trade in, but then again, I would like one more week of data. Nick Dacos, understand the trade in, but I'm one to wait. He's got a 131 break even. If he goes 100 again, he loses another 20k, and we get him at 887. And then if we get that, I can potentially go, yeah, I want Dacos, I want Flanders, or I want Dacos and I want Sammy Walsh, and potentially make a massive move that'll upgrade or potentially get me Luke Jackson, who I don't know if he'll be top 6, but I also think he's an inflated price at the moment. So get off him, get off like a Riley Bonner or a Massimo D'Ambrosio, and get to 2 100 scorers consistently, which is potentially somewhere close to 50 to 80 points upside, I reckon, in that trade. So yeah, that's what I'm sort of looking at. Noah Anderson, I think this one is a very reactionary trade. I know that he's going 117, but that is mostly based off a 154. He's going to 113, 96, 126, and a 99. I would be probably staying clear and going more for, at this 20k more, you can get a guy in steel that's going 120 pretty much every week. Whereas I just think Noah Anderson is fired up from that 154, but he does have the round 14 bye, which is, I think, the same as Jack Steele anyway. Cherry, again, getting traded in for some reason. I don't think Cherry is going to be going enough at the same average. And I just think at this point you're losing cash to the likes of a Gorn and also a losing ground, to a Gorn and a Rowan Marshall. You're losing 16 points a week, and Sherry isn't going to be making much more cash. If he goes 100 each week, he makes 20k for the next sort of 3 weeks. 20k each week. If you're trading that in, you're not really trading a guy in that's going to be losing 16 points but gaining 20k. That's not really a good trade in at all. Whitfield, understand that. Dersma, I want one more game. to be honest with you, as my thing is starting to bug out, which is annoying. I want one more game of data, as he is a winger and he's shown that he can score a 47 and a 52. And I think at his price, you can wait another week, as he will be sort of 750k. And if he goes big again, it could be like the Errol Goulden. It's just the midfield part that's sort of annoying me. If he had any other position, I'd probably be jumping on, but he's got a midfield status and has that 47 and 52 to boot. Whereas if he goes big against Adelaide, he runs into this huge run into his round 14 bye that could be interesting to go for. And that would help me to get off of Massimo as well as get Nick Dacos at the same time. So yeah, a huge potential for grabbing him up. But we need another week of data. And then no one else here really to talk about. So that pretty much is the video there, going through the trade targets. The outs this week. McKercher, rightfully so. Massimo, I think rightfully so as well. I'm holding Massimo for one more week. Matt Crouch as well, because he's suspended. Howell's on his bye. Clark because he scored a 2 or whatever. And Riley Sanders but I don't think Riley Sanders is a good sub out. Trade out. I know he has a 50 break even, but I think he will not get subbed this week, as they only have a midfield 4 now with sort of Libba going down into concussion protocols. So I don't think he gets sub, and I think that it is very likely that we look at this and see him potentially get an 80, resurrect that cash generation, and like looking at this, a 68 gets him 17k apparently, and then gets his break even to 53, and then a 71 after that gets him down, and then you start to see that break even. He's sort of making 20 to 30k a week, 15 to 20k a week, sorry. And that'll sort of help him get his way up to sort of that 550, 580k range, where he's an easy one up, one down type of guy with another mid-pricer or another sort of rookie as well attached to that. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.